Now at 5, we're tracking severe weather in the area tonight.
Plus, a change in police staffing raises concerns in Girard, Kansas, and youngsters get a lesson from canine friends at the Joplin Police Department Kids Academy.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Severe weather threatens much of the 4 states this evening. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. Let's go straight to meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney tracking the storms.
Well, currently we are under a flood watch and a severe thunderstorm watch for our Kansas and Oklahoma counties. Now, the line of storms hasn't quite made it into our area just yet. It's been holding off just to the east of Wichita most of the afternoon. You can start to see some of these storms creeping in to our Kansas counties. Now, northern part of our area not seeing as huge of a threat as some of our counties out in southern parts of Kansas and into Oklahoma, because you can see how these storms just ahead of the front are really firing up down there south in Oklahoma. We have a couple of tornado warnings along that line north of Stillwater, north of Oklahoma City, and quite a few severe thunderstorm warnings, winds gusting 60 to 70 miles per hour, hail up to a golf ball size, and then we also have those radar indicated tornadoes. Now, our cold front is ahead of the storms that are moving into the Kansas counties, which means that most of these storms are not going to produce those tornado warnings unless they get ahead of that front. But south, the cold front drapes behind those storms that are firing up, which is why they have more of a chance to rotate. Now, once they start to move into our area, they get right over into Oklahoma and then passing into the Kansas counties before our cold front line starts to overtake these storms, and then it organizes pretty quickly. Once that happens, we're mostly looking at a straight line wind threat, and that's going to continue through the late night hours. It's about 8:30, finally making it past the Pittsburgh area into the Joplin area, and then starting to clear out by about 10:30, 11. But I'm going to have a full look coming up.
See you soon. Some residents in Girard, Kansas have concerns about the current state of the town's police department. The department has seen several officers step down in recent months. In May, former police chief Sierra Roberts resigned. She has since taken a position at the Crawford County Sheriff's Office. It's drawn questions about what staffing the city currently has. Girard residents say they've noticed the Sheriff's Department having to respond to more calls in the area in the past couple of months. Some residents say they've also noticed an uptick in local crime.
We've been here in business, it'll be 38 years in November. We've never ever had any break-ins, never had any trouble at all. But since there's no police, it seems like it's just really gone downhill for the town.
The mayor of Girard confirmed with KOAM News that the city has appointed a new chief of police. Jesse Snyder began the role in mid-May. They currently have 1 patrolman active and another ready to start academy. The mayor says the city has an agreement with the county sheriff's office for nighttime coverage as well. Joplin School District incoming 6th graders got to visit some special guests with wagging tails at the public training facility in Joplin. The program is part of the JPD Kids Academy. Students got the chance to learn about the vital role canines play in law enforcement and got a closer look at what it means to serve and protect. It's all part of an effort to inspire young minds to start thinking of what they want to be when they grow up.
I think it's neat to show kids kind of what it's like in law enforcement, and then also show some parallels as long as the stuff they're learning in school, like writing sentences, spelling, physical activity, other things like that, interpersonal skills, showing that all these things that they're learning right now in school can apply to jobs later on in life.
We want them to know that Joplin has so much to offer. We want them to know that they have resources here, they have educational opportunities, and they have career pathways here.
Students said they enjoyed having a handcuffing relay race. We're going to have more on this story for you tonight at 10. The White House is moving forward with a plan to try to get back billions of dollars Congress approved in previous spending bills. The move, called a rescissions package, has been months in the making. This comes as the president is lobbying to push a new spending package through the Senate that some in his own party oppose. Erica Brown has more details now from the White House.
President Trump wants Congress to cancel billions of dollars in funding it's already approved in order to make permanent spending cuts identified by his Department of Government Efficiency.
We've been working with the House to make sure it's in the best place to pass.
The White House is asking Congress to take back $9.4 billion in funds previously appropriated, including cuts to foreign aid through USAID and cuts to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which helps support NPR and PBS. House Speaker Mike Johnson says the House will move as quickly as possible to pass the bills.
There's an appetite amongst all House Republicans to cut wasteful spending. The outrageous things that were uncovered with DOGE and USAID, for example, is something that we've been anxious to handle and address.
While the White House works on the rescissions package, the Senate is moving forward with what the president calls his one big beautiful budget bill.
I think it's close. There are 3 or 4 of us who are very concerned about the spending and the debt ceiling.
Kentucky's Rand Paul is one of a handful of Republican senators who say the provision to raise the debt ceiling is too much.
They're planning on spending $5 trillion they don't have, and I'm just not for that.
Trump called out Paul and Wisconsin's Ron Johnson on social media for opposing the bill.
It's not news that they disagree with this president on policy, and the president has vocally called them out for it and for their not having their facts together.
The White House press secretary also dismissed criticisms from former advisor Elon Musk, who called the legislation a pork-filled, disgusting abomination. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
The president's decision to send the rescissions package to Congress starts the clock ticking. They now have 45 days to act on that bill, but it does not need the 60-vote threshold to pass the Senate. It needs only a simple majority. Coming up, measles cases on the rise, and a new study says dropping vaccination rates could be to blame. And scientists are using AI and 3D imaging to unlock the mysteries of the human brain, how that could transform mental health treatments. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, the number of kids getting their measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines is dropping. A study by Johns Hopkins University found vaccination rates have dropped 2% since the pandemic to 91%. That might not sound like much, but it gets us further away from the 95% vaccination rate required for herd immunity. Currently, the U.S. is in the midst of its largest measles outbreak in years. 2 unvaccinated children have died. Marijuana use among elderly adults has reached a new high. Research by New York University shows 7% of adults 65 and older use marijuana within the past month. Most Americans live in states where marijuana is legal, either for medicinal or recreational purposes. The study also found marijuana use is rising among wealthier, college-aged individuals. What causes mental health issues? Well, scientists at UCLA are using brain mapping to try to find out. As Rina Nakano explains, the technology has already helped them discover there might be physical reasons for psychological problems.
UCLA scientists are studying what was once impossible.
Human brain and universe, these are two of the most mystery things in science.
Dr. Hongwei Dong is tackling one of those mysteries, the brain, with the help of 3D laser imaging and AI. Thanks to this new technology, researchers here are able to take a deeper look at the brain at a faster pace and more accurately. He's making brain maps.
Essentially, we create Google Maps for the brain.
Let's say the destination is an action, like walking. Tiny cells have to pass through these roads to send instructions on what to do. But if there's traffic, construction, or a break in the road, you will not be able to walk. This new technology is able to see what's causing those breaks.
They are toxic.
Graduate student Mitchell Rudd has family members who suffered from neurodegenerative diseases.
It felt like the life being sucked out of them.
That's why he joined Dr. Dong's lab. Brain mapping is essential in studying diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, but now it's also used to better understand our mental health. Brain maps show those who suffer from depression and anxiety also have breaks in their brain cells.
First, we want to look at exactly which part of the brain, which cells, how their connection get disrupted, and then if we can develop new drugs, can recover their connections, then that will help their mental health.
For psychiatric disorders, maintaining a healthy lifestyle and social connections can help regenerate some of those cell connections. Researchers hope with more brain mapping research, they can better understand both physical and mental health. Rina Nakano, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Your morning cup of coffee could boost your brain health. A study by Harvard found women who drank coffee regularly in midlife were more likely to have signs of healthy aging, including having no cognitive or memory issues and being free of major chronic diseases. The study found that women who drank non-caffeinated coffee or tea did not get the same health benefits. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, Dave's hot chicken just got a whole lot hotter. See who's behind its billion-dollar buyout.
And we're tracking storms in the area through the rest of the evening. I'm going to have those details right after. Well, we're right in the midst of some storms pushing through the area. We're under a severe thunderstorm watch on the Kansas and Oklahoma side. Now, there was a higher chance for tornadoes just to the north of us. However, we are still tapping into some energy south of us that is causing some tornadoes and quite a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. All right, so digging in, we've got our cold front pushing through. Now, we're mainly, as this line continues to drive in, mainly going to deal with up to 70-mile-per-hour straight line winds, hail up to an inch, and maybe a couple of spin-up tornadoes. However, we've seen a lot of activity with this line already. So as we continue to push into the area, in our area, at least in Kansas, we've got some Boeing segments, some strong winds, but our cold front is draped just along and ahead of those storms, so not quite in the perfect atmosphere for any type of severe development. We are getting some of those strong winds there and a lot of lightning now moving into Chanute. Independence, and a cell moving into Independence looks to be like a strong one, trying to tap into that instability that's ahead of the front. Now you can see how the line of storms down south of us down to Oklahoma City. We've got a couple of tornado warnings, quite a few of severe thunderstorm warnings. And now all of that is going to continue to push in at the same time that cold front drives in as well. So we are going to see eventually that cold front start to overtake the storms ahead of the line, like it is in the northern counties. That's why we have so much going on down there, so many explosive storms, because they're just right ahead of the front, being able to tap into that instability in the environment, all the warm, moist air that's in there. We've seen it all day today. It's been hot, it's been muggy. As we continue to push into the area, though, they're more likely going to form into straight line, which gives us that straight line wind threat. Now, I do want to point out the storm out in Independence does look like it's going to be continuing to push in just north of Independence. Strong storm, a lot of lightning, likely some hail there as well, up to golf ball size hail, and then a couple other storms. Now, these have been sitting just outside of the area all afternoon, pushing past Fredonia, getting into Erie next, Parsons next, up to Fort Scott. You can see it also starting to make its way into Chanute. Now, like I said, once this makes it more into our central counties, it really just organizes into a straight line, which gives us that straight line wind threat. We can still see spin up tornadoes along with that. Those are likely going to be a bit weaker than if they were isolated storms, but straight line winds up to 70 miles per hour are still just as damaging as any tornado. Now this is about 7:30 p.m. so it takes a while for these storms to really get organized and get moving, making it into the Pittsburgh area, down to Oswego and Columbus and Veneta and Miami. By about 8:30 to 9 p.m., starting to clip into the Joplin Metro, getting right along I-44 and I-49. Then it'll continue to drive in. You can see how it starts to bow out there a little bit right when it makes it past the Joplin area down to Cassville and Pineville. That's about 10 p.m. Now this is where everything really starts to die down. We see it bowing out a little bit more once it moves out of our area, but like I said, 10 to 11 is really winding down, and then after that initial line of storms go in, we do have thunderstorms that still remain. Those are called cold pool storms, so elevated storms, might get some hail there, but mostly just going to be those scattered showers, scattered thunderstorms through the rest of the overnight hours and into Wednesday, but those are not going to be a severe threat once that line makes it past. Now you can see, taking a look outside downtown Joplin, we still have mostly sunny skies out in Joplin area, which just means we might get some explosive storms a little bit later. Now we've got another round of storms coming in Thursday night and into Friday morning, so that's going to be the next thing we focus on once we get past tonight. And then again, potentially Friday night into early Saturday morning. After that, we're looking good, back to warm temperatures, sunny skies once we make it past all of this rain this week and weekend.
It's good to see that sunny day or two or three or four at the end of this dark tunnel that we're going to be going through in the meantime.
We've got something to look forward to.
Thanks. Coming up, why you're asked to switch to airplane mode when you fly and how many people actually do it. Up next on the CBS Evening News, the latest from the budget battle on Capitol Hill. Then tonight on KOAM News at 6, reporter Samantha Walker is going to have more on how Girard, Kansas hopes to address a staffing shortage in the police department. And reporter Ben McLeish is at tonight's Royals-Cardinals game in Kansas City. It's going to be beginning a little bit later this evening. We're going to get a preview. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. In the meantime and throughout the evening, we're keeping an eye on some storms moving through the area, Lindsay.
Yes, we are. So we've got a line of storms finally starting to push in. It's just been sitting outside of our area all afternoon, getting into the central southeastern counties in Kansas, going to hit Pittsburgh in the next hour to 2 hours. Now, we do have a severe threat due to these storms. Most likely just a straight line wind threat, some hail, but maybe a spin up tornado or two. Our next round of severe weather won't come in until Thursday night and into Friday morning. After that, we're finally going to get to see actual summertime instead of severe weather.
We'll be complaining about that eventually, but right now that sounds pretty good. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.